county.
Hello and welcome to the special edition COVID-19 Rogers television program dedicated to providing you and your family with information regarding the resources and community services available to you. My name is Carol Merton, and before I welcome our two guests today, for those of you who watch the program regularly, you know I like to express a few words of thanks at the beginning of each program. We are now moving towards phase 2 of the reopening of our province, and we really want to celebrate the new opportunities we have, mindful of the guidance that's still in place. And today, June 11th, hot off the press is a news release from Grey Bruce's top doctor, Dr. Ian Era, who is giving us advice about the wearing of face coverings, not necessarily masks and hospital-grade masks, but face coverings. So I'd like to just read you a little bit about this information because it is current. So now we know that as of June the 12th, we can join groups of 10. However, there are additional requirements that we still must follow to be able to build on the success here in Grey Bruce that we've had throughout COVID-19. We do need to physically distance still. That is absolutely critical. However, the Grey Bruce Health Unit reminds everyone that wearing a face covering is also critical to decreasing the risk of COVID-19 spread when personal distancing is not possible. So as the stores open and hopefully restaurants get up and running, it's making it much more challenging and people are out and about more. So certainly when you're in a grocery store, it is absolutely recommended, strongly recommended by the medical officer of health that you wear a face covering. So retail employees will wear cloth masks, but anyone who goes to shop, we're encouraging you to do this. When worn properly, masks or face coverings can reduce the spread of infectious respiratory droplets by preventing many of your germs from leaving your mouth and nose. And this is especially important with the physical distancing and also in public settings. So that's the newest release that we have. And it is an ever-changing situation. For those of you who would remember in the very beginning, face masks were more optional. Now they're strongly being recommended by our medical officer of health. We are definitely getting there, but there's more to do. I want to say a huge thank you to all in our community who continue to provide for all of us, to the medical officer of health and the public health unit staff, our essential and community support services, the vendors who continue to reinvent themselves and their business model. Thank you for all of your hard work. We will get through this together and stronger than ever, and we all are looking forward to seeing more of each other. So on that note, I am absolutely delighted to welcome two guests to the program. I have Allan Gibbons and Greg Hoddinott. I hope I've said that right, Greg.
You did.
Great. Who are from the Owen Sound attack, and I'm delighted to welcome both of you. I, in a moment, will ask you to identify your roles with the attack and also describe the organization, because this program will go out a little bit further afield and there may be some who are not as familiar with your organization. So this is your opportunity to really profile the attack. Who'd like to go first?
Well, I can go, I guess. So yeah, I'm Greg Hoddinott. I'm the manager of marketing and communications for the Allan Sound attack. Basically, for me, within the attack itself, I handle, all the majority of our corporate partnerships. I overlook, some of our communications end of things. Our external marketing and advertising campaigns. Game day development. It's really an all-encompassing role. To describe our organization, I think community. It really, we are the smallest market in the Ontario Hockey League, and arguably one of maybe two or three really small markets within the entire CHL. And we're we're a really 20-year overnight success story in the grand scheme of it. One of the best attendance in terms of per capita in the entire Ontario Hockey League. 10 years straight of making the playoffs. It's the community support we get is really second to none at the end of the day. Without them, we're not here. And really that's what we're about. And as much as we get that support, we're about providing that back to the community as much as we can as well.
Yes. How about you, Allan?
My official position is coordinator of communications and community relations. Bit of a word salad there, but it basically means anything like public facing from the team, like the social media, our press releases. When we go to community events, I'm behind a lot of that stuff, which is awesome. I'm kind of one of the focal points. I get it. Our players are the face of the team. They're always going to be a bigger deal than me, that's for sure. But I help facilitate that connection between our players and our staff with the community.
I think you both mentioned community, and there's been no doubt since COVID-19, the community engagement and involvement of the attack has been like other organizations where it's been much more limited. So can you take me through the process of what has happened from when it was first announced? Seems like so long ago now. And where you are now, and what is the fall and the hockey season going to look like?
Well, it was all of a sudden, I remember on our final game of the year, it was March 11th, we were playing the Barrie Colts. And during the game, we had reports that Tom Hanks has coronavirus. The NBA players tested positive for it. And we kind of started making jokes like, I guess we're not going to play with fans this weekend. And then it evolved so quickly. We realized, wait, this is a bigger issue than I think we're making of it. And then it's kind of really escalated since then. Not a lot of people it's been announced, but we've actually been locked out of our office for the past couple months because the Bayshore is now a field hospital.
Right.
So thankfully they haven't had to use it. We've handled it pretty well in Bruce and Greg, which is fantastic news. Of course, it's good to be prepared, but we're very happy they never had to use it. But we haven't been able to get into our offices either. So we're hoping by the end of the month that we'll have some more clarity on our future, what we can do going forwards. But I do know that one exception was made because our head athletic therapist, Andy Brown, he realized, I have a ton of extra hospital grade rubber gloves and masks and stuff that I have in the room that we can donate to the hospital because we're not going to need these for a while. So he got in there, he delivered a carload of those up to the hospital, which is awesome of Brownie to do. Got to give him a big shout out for thinking that and putting the community first once again.
And I think that's an important point. Then I'm not sure everyone would have realized that the attack office, you were displaced actually to allow for the hospital. So how did you work? What did you do?
Well, basically we've all kind of grabbed our computers, moved everything to our homes, and I'm working out of a desk in our family room. I know, there's Leanne's working out of her basement. We all have kind of carved a little space in our homes to try and do it. I mean, it's created some definite difficulties, especially with seasons ticket renewals and things like that, where, people don't have a direct line to phone us anymore because we don't have that ability right now. It's kind of one of those things that you take for granted that's been cut off. But I think we've done a pretty good job on responding to any email and to any communication we get. We're trying to get back to people as quickly as we can. That's a reality. The challenges of working from home versus working in an office I'm longing for my desk. I'm longing to be back at my desk and that. So, I never thought I'd probably say that when I started working. But I'm going to remember that for years from now. So.
Yeah. So for sure, some significant adjustments, and it's been challenging from how you describe. What about the players? What's happening with them? What would they be doing at this time of year if it wasn't for COVID-19?
Well, we were pretty close to the end of the season. We would have had about 5 or 6 regular season games, and then hopefully multiple playoff series. But a lot of the guys, when I spoke to them right afterwards, it was kind of like a nice break for them. Like
Yeah.
they were playing a lot of games, a lot of games a week. They were tired. It was their time to take some time off, rest up their bodies. I mean, yeah, they're teenage boys, but they do get run down, as hard as that is to believe. But
Yeah.
now they're all back into working out. Back, I know some of them have been able to get on the ice, which is fantastic, depending on where the rink is, what's open and whatnot like that. But now they're kind of in off-season mode, so they're working out as often as they can. They're in contact with our strength coach, Andy Plater, to figure out what routines they should be doing. And I know the lack of access to gyms isn't helping either, but they're going to be doing whatever they can to be in shape for the start of next year, whenever that is.
Yeah, and that is an issue that, a lot of the Ys or the other gyms or fitness facilities they would use are also closed. So it's like a double whammy when you think about it. The ice hasn't been available up until now, and then obviously the gym facilities as well. You can only rest for so long, and then you want to start working out again. Yeah. As far as how things are unfolding, I mean, we're hearing the good news that we're starting to get larger groups. How do you anticipate moving forward for games? If there are restrictions, we've heard about masks and all of that. What's your vision for how this can unfold for you?
Well, right now I would say, there's a little bit of uncertainty, but you know what, we're working through a lot of it. Right now, it's a bit of a waiting game for us. We're waiting to hear from the province and from our public health unit on exactly what the protocols are doing. Now, that being said, we're not sitting idly by. We're out. We all do our grocery shopping and we all do those things. So we're seeing some of those safety precautions that are being put in place. So we are working towards, once we get back in the Bayshore, setting up our concessions with those safety protocols, the sneeze guards, the masks, gloves. We're looking into all of those things, trying to source them now so that, we've seen that when things move along and they move around the phases that, we're not getting a lot of notice in terms of, hey, you can open Friday, so that's not something for us to try and do what we'll maybe need to do within that building. That's not a lot of time. So we're trying to do what we can now in terms of a lot of those safety protocols. And to be brutally honest, it's going to come down to what the province tells us once they get to a point where they're comfortable with larger, with large live gatherings. Essentially, we've had those discussions about percentages, full, arenas, and we're just trying to find a fair way to figure that out right now. I don't think we have a finalized plan on that 100%, but I think we've got some good plans there.
It sounds like you've certainly been having the preliminary conversations, and I know it's really tough when you really don't know what the picture's going to look like in like a week or a month. It's hard, but it sounds like you've had the conversations and you're ongoing. So in a perfect world, when would you anticipate the players would be back regular practice? And when would the first game, in a perfect world, pre-COVID, when would you actually look for the first game to happen?
Ideally, our players would be back here at the end of August. That's kind of when our training camp starts, when our rookies show up. And then the rookies are usually here for a couple of days first, and then the camp gets narrowed down to the main camp with the main returning players. Then our returning players would be in town. I know it's kind of funny. It's very Owen sound of me to say this, but it always coincides with the Salmon Spectacular.
It's okay to say it like an Owen sounder.
I'm sad about the loss of that event this summer too. So
yeah.
In a perfect world, that's when they'd be here. We'd have some preseason games in the end of August or early September, middle of September. And then we started our season last year on September 21st. So in a perfect ideal world, that would be when we're aiming for. And I know the Quebec League has said they're going to start their season on October 1st. And as our sister league to us, that's kind of what we're hoping for. Like, yeah, if it's a 2-week delay, that's totally okay. That's something we can work with, and that's what we're going to aim for. But and that's what we are working towards right now. But we do have some plans in place if things do get pushed back or what's going on. We're just trying to be prepared in all aspects.
Yeah, for sure. Now, attack players who come to Owen Sound, they would need housing or they'd need to be able to stay in certain locations, correct? And does your organization assist with that in finding those locations?
Dale DeGray, our general manager, and that manage our billet program. So all our players are billeted with local families within the Owen Sound area. He does an excellent job finding families that are a good fit, and when they move in, they're just like another member of the family. They're expected to clean, do dishes, all the same rules. It's just like having another kid in your house, right? That's the idea of it. And it's also a very neat experience for a family to have that junior hockey player, and it's a different thing. So we definitely do that. I think we had 18 billet families last year. So we had multiple players billeted at the same house, but usually we have between about 18 and 20 billet houses.
Are you concerned that the billet availability might be changed because of COVID-19?
Well, just some conversations that I have had with Dale in the last little bit. The billet families seem to be pretty comfortable. Obviously, we're going to work with those families to ensure they're comfortable, and we're not going to expect anything if they're not. So, we'll work through those. Obviously, we have some interesting scenarios. International players that come. We have some American players. So there's definitely some scenarios that we're working through on how that will work. But that's not really mine or Allan's cup of tea, so I can't get too deep into it.
No.
For the most part, the billet families, I think, are excited for the kids to come back and, that sort of thing. So.
Yeah. And it's part of the whole picture of social gatherings and definition of family. And like you say, once they're in a billeted home, they're considered family, right? Because they are currently present. And so it would certainly all match. So from a marketing perspective, I know ticket sales are primary concern, right? That's one way of generating revenue. So there is some concern amongst organizations that, there'll only be a certain percentage of people allowed in arenas. You look towards partnerships, corporate partnerships, to help with funding as well. Will you change your marketing strategy at all?
From a getting fans in, yes, if it's a percentage, because realistically we have one of the biggest, again, per capita seasons ticket bases within the league. So if you take our arena down to 50% full, we can't offer tickets to anyone beyond our seasons tickets at that point, because you're talking our seasons tickets is last year is about just over 1,700 seats. That's a little more than half of the Bayshore. So we would focus on them, and we would remove our marketing efforts from those single game ticket sales until we were able to expand, obviously, or if the season's ticket base decided not to use their tickets. From a corporate standpoint, it's about being flexible. We're honestly just trying to be as flexible as we can. I haven't even talked to all of our corporate partners yet, but we're just working through the lists and having conversations, and some are willing, gang ho, let's get committed and let's go. And, we'll adapt as the number of games change and things like that. And others are, we're not really sure. And we're okay with that. We need to be okay with that. One of the things that I think I've said in a couple of our meetings is that, I feel like we're a leader in the community, and we need to be that now. We need to find, as much as our community has helped us become as successful as we are, it's now up to us to use our success and that to try and help them, get back on their feet at the end of the day. So it's developing programs. We're trying to develop a discount card for all our seasons ticket members that our corporate partners can offer a discount to our, say, 1,700 seats, right? A promotion of some kind to try and drive them back into those stores and restaurants and, all those locations to try and let's get everyone back up.
And that's a really important point, because we are all concerned about the businesses and the business survival. and being able to, as you say, to reach back and help to support those businesses to get back on their feet is certainly critical, without a doubt. As far as you mentioned about you may have to change the ratio of tickets available based on what you're able to do, and also the partnerships. One of the things that I particularly noted is how involved the Attack players are in community initiatives. They're out there, they're present, you see them. And I wonder if you can comment on how the players have been feeling about not being able perhaps to do that as much, and what you might be thinking could be possible as the restrictions are lifted.
Unfortunately, with the restrictions currently, it's going to be hard to get out to those school visits at the beginning of next year. We're always looking out for player safety, number one. Like, yeah, we want to be that good community partner. We want to get those kids happy in the schools. But if there is any extra risk to our players, we unfortunately just can't take it. So it's going to have to get to a really safe point before we do get back onto those community events. But our players have been awesome. We've actually been working with some classrooms already this summer, where some kids got to send their questions in and some of our players answered the questions for them. So it was kind of like a school visit or a classroom visit, but not in the regular sense of the visit. So they've been really good in that sense. And I mean, they love it too. It's fun for them. They get to play some floor hockey with the kids usually when they go to a school visit and get to meet the fans. So we're making the most of it, and hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of it next year, but it's just going to be hard with everything going on.
And I've certainly been impressed with just how meaningful it is for the players to be the face of Attack. You know, it just makes such a big impact in a variety of ways, for sure. I wanted to ask you, when you say they've responded back to the questions, is that emailing back? Is it video chat? How do they do this?
It hasn't been a video chat. So what I've done is I had some teacher connections in the area, just through like our school visits and stuff like that. So I sent out basically a blast saying, hey, if your kids want to write a question to the Attack players, I'll get them to record a video response. So it would basically be like, oh, Josh from grade 3 at this school asks Aiden Dudas, what's your favorite food? So then Aiden would respond in his video, oh, this is my favorite food. Thank you for asking that question, Josh. So it's kind of personal. It's not quite on the video chat. Just with the privacy laws and everything, it's hard to sneak onto one of those classroom chats. But
yeah.
We're doing our best.
One of the things that I'm learning as I'm talking to different businesses and organizations is how they are pivoting their business model, and including the use of technology to stay connected. So you have a group of Attack players coming on board, some new, some are return. Will you be using technology just as we're doing in the future to even help them stay connected to the community, or YouTube, something? Have you considered that as an approach?
I think it'll definitely be something we're looking into for next season, seeing what we can do to connect with these classrooms in the community. And we're also really excited. We're going to have a new streaming partner for our games this season too. So the quality is going to be better. I think it's just going to be, Greg might be able to touch on this more, but I think with some people, even if things do get safer, I totally understand. We do have an older demographic here in Owen Sound. If they're not comfortable going out in those large groups, that hopefully our new streaming partner will be able to get those games to them at home, even if they can't. Of course, Rogers TV as well, but I know our fans out of market can watch the games that way.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, because there is no doubt that there is a connection with the Attack across all ages in our community, and people anticipate the games and they look forward to the games, and they know the players. They really know the players as people, not just hockey players. And I think that is so meaningful to our community. My question to both of you is, how can the community help you?
It's a really good question. To continue to support us however they can. At the end of the day, and I say support us. Yes, obviously we want them to buy tickets and come to games and things like that. But, it's not always just about the monetary sport. We want to hear from them. We just finished a whole bunch, about 2 months, 9 weeks worth of surveying of single game ticket holders, our seasons ticket members and our suite holders. So we love to hear from our fans. Suggestions. We can't always do what they want, but things like that. Those are the ways. Whenever we're able to get back to playing hockey with the full arena, we love to see those who are comfortable being there, and the ones who aren't comfortable, we hope they'll follow us and continue to watch us on Rogers TV, or if they don't have that in their market, through live streaming, through our web, through our social media channels. That's really what it's about for us. It's about that support we get, and we do have. I always say, we have the best fan base in junior hockey. People look back to the 2011 championship series and Game 7 and filling, can't think of the name, by the time, the Powerade Center, the Hershey Center at the time. That hasn't changed. Our fans follow us to other arenas still. So, yeah. It's that support. We're here, and we're here to support them as well. And, we can't always do everything, but that's, reach out to us and we'll try and do our best to help them.
So we have about a minute left in the program, but you also sell products, right? Like sweaters and that. So if they can't come to a game, they could purchase online one of your products and sit in a tack sweater and watch the game, right? There's other ways to support. Not that I'm doing your marketing, but
no, that's okay. We're looking for an intern if you wanna hop on board. Yeah, you can access the Attack Shack online. Unfortunately, right now, because we don't have access to the building, we can't send out any orders until we do get back in. But as soon as we get back in there, I know that's going to be one of the big things you want to get jumping on.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I want to thank both of you for being on the program. I know it has not been easy. It sounds like you've been very adaptable as well, but I sense your anxiousness and keenness to get back into that building. In other words, it's almost like, let me go home.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to thank you both very, very much for being on the program, and I wish you all the best, and the best to your players as well when they are able to return. Thank you to our viewing audience as well for joining us today to learn more about services available to you. Please take care, stay safe, and care for each other. Thank you.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Hey everyone, I'm Christina of Homebodies Fitness. Join me for your at-home fitness routine. Let's all get fit together. Only on Rogers TV, Homebodies Fitness.
Are you a woman experiencing abuse? Do you know a woman experiencing abuse?